Hey, if you had an accident tomorrow, though, seriously, would you know where to bring your car? You're going to go to V&J Auto Body. V&J Auto Body has been repairing cars for 40 years. It's a small family-owned business. They are a proud sponsor of ours. They've been with us since the beginning. Folks, I can't say enough about V&J Auto Body. State-of-the-art facility. They are one of the most certified shops in Suffolk County. They have the technology, the business processes, the equipment, and most importantly, the personnel to repair your car and make sure that it's put back to pre-loss condition. For your convenience, they now have two amazing locations, one in Southampton and, of course, the original location in Lindenhurst, New York. All right, so go to VandJAutobody.com. They can be reached at 631-226-0070. Remember, V&J Auto Body is looking out for your interests, not the interests of the insurance guys. All right, welcome everybody to another exciting episode of the one and only, the famous, the historically famous Crash Course. And I say that with a little bias, of course. Say a lot of bias, seeing as I'm the one that created Crash Course, the first and only show dedicated to promoting the independent auto body shops here across the great fruited plain of Long Island. And I don't know, maybe New York State. I mean, I think we can claim New York State as well at this point, especially now that we're into the social media realm. And, it's been greatly explained to me that social media realm means we are reaching out to God only knows where. I mean, I think everything's short of the Milky Way at this point. So maybe you can hear us in the Milky Way as well. I don't know. We don't know. We're not able to communicate with anyone on that side of the Great Divide. But at any rate, I think it's historically famous because, like I said, we've been at this now. I don't know. I have no conception of time. Every year I get older, I get worse with time. So, but I'm going to say it's probably at least 4 years. Started out on the radio, and then we're over here on the other side of things in the 21st century with good old social media. It's been probably, I don't know, a year since I've been really hitting this kind of hard and heavy. And it's been exciting for sure and different. So different is usually exciting, right? I think they tend to go hand in hand, although we don't always know what the excitement part of that is, if it's good or bad. But in this case, it's been, for the most part, good. I just still find it a little awkward, though, with the social media approach to, to this type of communication here. That you find yourself kind of, at least with me, I find like you're out in this like twilight zone, this galaxy of media mixes today. Everything between the Instagrams and then all this other crap too. I mean, I just saw something on the news last night which is really screwed up. Character AI, I think that's what it's called. It's some company and it's an app and kids pull it down and they get all these make-believe chat bots on there and then they claim it's safe and the kid starts chatting with the chat bot and next thing you know the thing's telling it that it's telling an eighth grader or a 10-year-old girl to take her clothes off and start doing things to herself. I'm telling you folks, you can't make this shit up. Now, we don't do any of that here on Crash Course. So I can tell you this is definitely a child safe program here. But character AI. So if you have small children or you have school-age children for that part, any kid under 18 is a minor. I would strongly advise the parents. And remember, this is what we do here at Crash Course, right? What do we always say? We're giving you information and knowledge you need and can use. And that can be any kind of information and knowledge that I come across. I want to make sure I get that out to you. So this came across to me last night on a 60-minute program. I thought this was really screwed up. Character AI. Apparently, it's some app that kids, it's free. Of course, it's free, right? All the shit that they want to push into your kid's head is free. And, your kid goes on there and they're chatting with these different bots. And I don't know, from what I got, it looked like, these bots can be cartoon things that the kids know or, some type of fictitious hero. maybe some kind of Marvel thing, comic. Although they even showed that in some instances they were pictures or likenesses of like famous football players or baseball or, or whatever. I mean, some sports personality or actor or actress. It's not them. They have no idea. They didn't even authorize this. All right. And 99% of the time, these famous people have no idea that their likeness is being used, but it is, and it helps the kid identify even more. And then all of a sudden the conversation goes from, hey, Disney World and Small World and all of a sudden to, why don't you take your top off and start doing things? So, it was really screwed up, really kind of crazy shit. Unfortunately, it goes without saying, because of the way things are today, a couple of these kids were convinced to commit suicide. I don't know how. I remember when I was in 8th grade, I didn't even know what the word suicide meant, let alone, know anybody that did in 8th grade. I mean, 8th grade was, I remember it was a great year for me. It was the first time I made the school basketball team. Things were really starting to change for me, as far as growing up. It was an exciting time. It was an awkward time, of course. It always is, when you're in transitioning through school and age. But you're still a kid, right? I mean, come on. The world is your oyster, man. I mean, you're supposed to be happy. I mean, everybody I grew up with, we were always happy, having fun. I never heard of anybody who was depressed, had anxiety. It's all bullshit. All this shit today, all bullshit. And it's all driven by technology and AI and all this rot gut crap that just gets peddled out there. And these kids just, their brains are not formed yet, and they absorb all this shit. And they just don't have the ability to comprehend this or to process it. And I guess apparently this is what happens, right? Some of these kids, they just go off the rails, and then unfortunately, worst case scenario, we get, children that just, end up harming themselves, or in most cases, killing themselves. So really screwed up shit. All right. So if you got kids, check it out. Apparently not everybody's familiar with this. I didn't know what the hell it was. I mean, I'm 63. I don't know what any of this shit is. But Character AI, it was, like I said, it was a 60-minute piece. It's really screwed up shit. The company that handles it, that created it, it's two clowns from Google. Apparently Google kicked them out, fired them or some shit, because the technology and the system itself, they just felt wasn't safe. It just wasn't there yet to provide safeguards. So they ended up booting these guys because these guys wouldn't take no for an answer. So they fired them. So these guys left, and they created this company, Character AI, and went ahead and launched this thing anyway. And, lo and behold, here we are, right? So Google was right. I mean, these guys were a bunch of clowns, and they put this shit out there, and now it's it's not working well, okay, to say the least. And it's very perverted, very bizarre stuff, and it's just ridiculous. I listen, and and Google's not off the hook on this anyway. By the way, they also mentioned at the end of the program that there's a multi-million-dollar lawsuit now, a class action lawsuit from many, many different parents and families against Character AI, as well as Google, because Google kicked these guys out, and then I guess when they realized that the company had launched their version of it, and it was making money, and now they wanted in, so they ended up partnering with these guys. But Google's trying to claim, well, they're an outside company, they're not an affiliate, blah blah blah. The usual legal mumble jumble bullshit. But as far as the lawyers are concerned, they're part and parcel to this anyway. So look it up, Character AI. Like I said, we're always trying to help out the folks here. And, check out your kids' shit, man. You got to look at your kids' stuff, right? You got to get involved here, man. You can't just put people on autopilot. Definitely kids. I was a kid once, and I was a good kid. I was considered a good kid, right? I mean, I didn't have straight A's, but I had a lot of A's. I was in the honor society eventually. I was the first one in my family to do the college route and all that other happy horse shit. But the bottom line is, I still did stupid shit. All right, still did stupid shit. Even though I was a smart kid, responsible kid, my brothers weren't. They were a bunch of clowns. But but I was the smart one, the responsible one. I was in the Air Force Junior ROTC in high school. I was on sports. But I still did stupid shit because guess what? I was a kid and my brain wasn't fully there. The frontal cortex, especially on teenage boys. All right. Girls actually develops a little quicker. No surprise. But men, it takes a little longer. All right. They claim not until 25 years old, our men's frontal cortex is fully formed. So, I mean, you can figure out, from that, all the kinds of bullshit that you can get in trouble with as a guy. All right. So, moral of the story is here, folks, you got to babysit your kids, right? Even though they're not babies anymore, you got to be on them like a diaper, man. You got to let them know that you're there, that you're involved, that you want to be involved, that, not because you want to be a pariah or you want to spy on them, but that you give a shit, right? My parents gave a shit. My mom was there every day we got home from school. When we all went to school, she went to work for a little bit, but was always home when we got home from school. She was basically the family bus, helping us get to BYA and all the sporting stuff like that. My dad was a city cop. He worked mostly nights. So he was available during the day, but a lot of that was he was sleeping to get up and go to the next tour. The bottom line was, you have to be involved in your kids, man. You just can't put these kids on autopilot. And these parents that run this program, they were like, oh, yeah, my daughter. And, and then you drill down into it. And it's like, well, she would say she didn't feel good and go up into a room and get on her phone or a laptop. Come on, man. Are you kidding me? This kid's in 8th grade having problems. You let her go up and close the door and get on a laptop? I mean, it's just bullshit. You can't do that. Out of control, man. Out of control. The all of our cultural rot and societal decline. That's what we got going on here. So, and the only way that you change that is you start by family. That's it, man. Family by family, person by person. And you start chipping away and you start giving a shit and you start having morals again and you start taking back what used to be, what used to be American culture, American society. And I'm not trying to sound like some happy dick here. Hey, things were always great in the past. No, they weren't. I grew up in the 70s. It was idyllic, right? Why? Because I was a kid. So, of course, looking through rose-colored glasses as a kid, I'm going to tell you, the 70s were great, man. There were no problem. Meanwhile, I'll go on Google and thumb through historical context or, if anybody's ever on Instagram, right? What a joke. We're all on Instagram. And you get these reels and they say, and it's like, woo, mystery. This person was killed or murdered and never found, or this person disappeared. Hey, look at the dates. It's like 1968, 1973, 1976. All this shit was going on. So it wasn't a perfect world. They still had criminals. They still had bad people and bad shit happen. The point is, though, all right, and this is a huge point, and this is why, I like to joke around and say that it's not just a different time today, but it is an entirely different world. Okay? When I grew up, you could say it was a different time, right? We had the 60s and the 50s. Okay? It was a different time, but it was still the same world. We still agreed on American values, American culture, all those stupid little things that underpinned us as a country, as a society was still there. They're gone, folks. The guardrails are off, man. All right? And when the guardrails come off, this is what happens. All right? So I'm not trying to sound like some old fart from the time gone by. I'm a realist. I understand that it wasn't a perfect world. I know bad shit happened. I know there were problems, but not a lot. All right. And the problems that did happen, they were handled. Okay. They were dealt with. All right. And for the most part, the family unit was intact, and the family unit, dealt with things. So moral of the story is, if you don't know anything about character or AI, go check it out. All right. Seriously. It's really screwed up shit. All right. Hey, listen, if you're an adult and you want to deal with these things, that's great. That's fine. Go check it out. You want to play around with, sexy bot, whatever, her name is or something, and you can get her to strip for you or whatever. Knock yourself out. But, if you're a minor, if you're a kid, you're growing up, it's enough to handle what you have to handle, to not get involved with stuff like this. And then, God forbid, your kid just, is one of those that can't handle a lot of this stuff, and they go down a dark path. All right. Like these 3 kids that they showed on the program, that it didn't work out well for them. All right. So that's our dutiful information highway alert here today. I figured I'd start the program off with a little something more than the insurance. But, we do, like I said, the mantra has been here for the longest time, right? We're giving you information and knowledge you need and can use. And that's certainly, if I see things, whether it's insurance related, collision related, anything like that, I feel like I need to get it out there because we do reach a lot of people now. And so please go check that out. Character AI, not any good. All right. If your kid knows about it, get their phone, look at it. It's an app. If it's on there, delete it. Tell them to stay away from that and never go on it again. All right. At any rate, so what are we going to look at today here? We've got some big stuff happening in the insurance world that everybody needs to be aware of. All right. And again, you know how we always beat the drum here about insurance. Who gives a shit, right? You got to pay for it every month, or if you're fortunate enough, you pay the premium one, in the beginning of the year, whatever you do. That's great. Folks, the days of not giving a shit, though, are long behind us. Okay? They're very much long behind us. And what do I mean by that? Right? I work in a body shop. I work at V&J Auto Body. Okay? And I also was on the insurance side for many, many decades. All right. Well, I've been over at V&J for 10 and a half years now. But I can tell you that in a decade, the amount of change that I've seen, okay, between what was happening when I joined V&J, when I joined the collision side of things, to where we're at today, it would be like, to put in Star Trek terms, warp speed. Okay. It's just phenomenal, the amount of change that has occurred. And most of it is not for the good. All right. Most of it's not for the good. Again, that's my humble opinion. I mean, there's other people out there might say, well, he's full of shit. It's really cool. All this other stuff. Great. Terrific. But if you're a consumer, which that's what we are, right? Because we all need insurance. I'm going to argue for you that it's not good. All right. And the technology that's available and keeps advancing is in large part contributing to the not good. All right. What do we mean by that? Let's take a look at a topic like total loss. All right. Now, I've had episodes on this, all right, going all the way back to the radio show days. If you want to go to Spotify, we're still hanging around there. You can see some of the old episodes for the radio show there. So I'm not going to, get too much in the weeds about it, other than to say that total loss is basically insurance companies decided not to fix your car. Okay. But here's the problem, folks. All right. And listen up. All right. Now, I didn't bring Squeaky today. Squeaky got left in the car. I think he's still recovering from hypothermia. But anyway, listen up though. All right, real important stuff here. I'm not kidding you. Okay, and this is actually which is ironic because this magazine right here, Fender Bender. Okay, this is a trade magazine. This is that yours truly subscribes through for you. All right, I read the things that you don't want to read. All right. And listen to things you don't want to listen to because it's important. And then in this way, I bear the brunt of the boredom and the pain, and then I can disseminate the good stuff to you. So the article in here is navigating the rise in total losses. So what do we say? Total loss, your car's not getting fixed. Insurance company said, I don't care. We're not fixing your car. Now, here's the dirty little truth about that topic. All right. Because now you're scratching your head going, well, why wouldn't they want to fix my car? I have insurance. That's what they say. Right. That is true. However, here in New York State, let's take New York State because I know we probably reach far and wide, all across the Great Plains here, the United States, adjacent states, maybe even as far as the Milky Way. All right. But let's leave this in New York State for conversation purposes because of regulation issues and that. So in New York State, okay, if you own a car and you get in an accident, all right, and your repair costs hit 75% of the value of the car or more, the insurance company should be looking at that as a total loss. Okay. Now that was done for various reasons, and we can get into that on another episode. But we're going to leave that for what it is right now on the table. 75% they consider total loss. The problem is the insurance companies. Okay. And what do I always say about insurance companies, right? What do? Come on. If you've been following us forever, they look for ways to cut costs when, where, and often, folks. Well, guess what? Here we go. Total loss. Remember I said that with the rental issue was a big one for them? Well, now total loss is too. And we'll get to the why and how. So New York State says 75% of the value of the car, and then you have to consider the total. Okay. No problem. That's That's a reasonable dollar amount to be at, all right, when you should be considering a total. I mean, with most cars, 75% of the value is pretty fair and reasonable with respect to giving it a large margin for repairability. Here's the problem, though. The insurance companies, okay, they've decided that, well, we don't really think 75% is good, okay? And in some cases, some of these companies are considering 50% or even 40% of the value of your car to make it a total. That's right. Okay? Now, why is this important to you? Because if you have a car and they come into my shop and they say to me, hey, you know what, man, this car's a total. And I tell them, but it's only 50% of the value. Yeah, but we're going to get a salvage value and it's going to be high, and we take the salvage off the bottom line, and next thing you know, we're right into the repair course, and we're just getting rid of the car. Great. Now, that's good for them, all right? Really good for them. Guess what? That sucks for you, though, okay? Because you, the consumer, my customer, may not be able to go out and afford another car. Remember, they're not paying you for what the car's worth, folks. Let me rephrase that. They're paying you fair market value. They're not paying you replacement costs. Okay? A lot of people get in the weeds over that, man. All right? A lot of people don't understand that until this happens. And then they're like, oh, what do you mean? Okay? They're not doing that. They're not giving you a replacement cost. And they don't even bother getting involved with replacing your vehicle with one that, it's similar, like, kind, and quality. Forget it. I don't know the last time any insurance company did that. So they're going to give you what they consider to be fair market value. And that's another moving target as well, too. All right, the fair market value. That's another load of shit too. But we can get and do another episode on that. All right, so now we got them coming in saying they want to total your car at 50%. When I'm telling them I can fix your car at 65%, and they're like, "Well, we don't care. We're totaling at 50." Great. So now they total your car. You're left holding the bag. God forbid you have a loan on the car. Forget it, right? If you have a loan on the car, they pay the loan off first. If there's anything left over, tidbits, they write you a check. Here you go. Here's $1,000. The hell are you doing with $1,000? They paid off the loan, gave you $1,000, and then said, you can go get another car. The problem is the car that you're driving is now $15,000 more than what you paid for it 4 years ago. So the moral of the story is they walk away making money, you get screwed, and I lose a repair job. So you see how all this works, folks? Okay? You see how all this works? It's very bad. I've never seen anything like it, okay? And it's not good at all, all right? And you need to be aware of this because there are certain things you can do as a consumer. And at V&J, if you bring your car to V&J, there are things that we can do to help you to mitigate this, okay? There's a couple of outside services that we work with that are very, very good. They have an excellent recovery rate, approaching somewhere around, I think, 85%. All right. And what I mean by that is, if this ends up being the final route, these guys are going to get out there. They're going to get in the trenches with the insurance company, and they're going to make sure that this value that they're supposedly saying is fair and reasonable, which never is going to be fair and reasonable. All right. But that's if you bring your car to V&J. Let's get to the meat and potatoes. What's really driving all this? Okay. Because at the end of the day, it's always about what? Money, right? Money. And the insurance companies looking for ways to cut costs one way and often. Well, so the dirty secret here, all right, the elephant in the room is that there is a lot of foreign money. No surprise, right? Here we go again. A lot of foreign money, offshore money that comes into these auctions, all right? These auction places. There's a place called IAA. There's one called Copart around here. These are salvage companies that the insurance companies have contracts with. When they total your car, they take your car from you, and they send it out to this place. And then the car goes to auction, and they sell the car. They sell the car, folks. So they're making money on your loss, okay, after they settle with you, and they said they gave you fair and reasonable market value, which they never do, okay? They then take your car, auction it, and they sell it, and they make money. Now, they don't make, they don't get the total amount back on the car, but they do damn well. And a big thing that's fueling this, and this article actually highlighted that, is this offshore money comes in. They bid up the prices, the salvage prices on these cars. And what does this guy say here? I'll give you some example right here. The salvage value has been bid up on total loss vehicles by offshore buyers. So the insurers claim it's economically better for them to total the vehicle. Folks, let me tell you something right now. Again, this is in New York State. Economically better for them. What about you? Reg 64 says they could total a vehicle at 5%. That's right. 5% of the value if they want to pay it. Here's the little stopgap, though. They can't do that if it's going to be financially detrimental to you. See, this is the thing that gets left out of the conversation today. It's amazing. Okay, when I started in the industry, it was the other way around. It was, what can we do to help our insured? Okay, because that's really why you have insurance, right? It's to be there as a safety net to help us. Well, not today. Now it's what's economically viable for the insurance company. This is bullshit. It's horseshit, okay? All this. And you, the consumer, all of us, you really need to wake up and get involved here. You're paying a lot of money, folks, every year, right? Premiums went up 48% since COVID. 48%. What the hell are we paying for? Now, when you finally need them, they want to whack your car and take it away from you because they're going to make more money that way. So you got offshore money coming in, bidding up the salvage to unrealistic levels. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. State associations are calling for export tax. Listen to this. So a lot of these body shop associations and these different organizations are calling for an export tax for the total loss vehicles purchased by offshore buyers. If that tax were added to drive up the price paid per vehicle, the demand by these offshore buyers would then decline. Salvage values would decline, and it would again be economical to repair these vehicles here in the U.S., protecting jobs of estimators, okay, technicians, parts coordinators, and more. This is a long shot. Folks, did you hear that? Protecting the jobs of estimators. All right, now I've talked about this job that I had for almost 30 years. All right, technicians, painters, parts people, right down the line, folks. This impacts every aspect of this industry. All right, but what they left out of here, which I believe they should have put in here, the first thing they should have put in here was you, the policyholder, or the claimant for that matter. State doesn't differentiate between claimant and insured, by the way, when you present the claim to the insurance company. So the first thing they should have mentioned was you and me, because we're getting screwed, right? I just said what happens. So the insurance company knows that all this money's coming in from all these offshore buyers, Saudi Arabia, Eastern Europe, pick someplace. They come in cash fat, plock them down, all kinds of cash, driving up the salvage value, bidding the values up. Folks, this has been going on for 25 years. When I tell you, when I started with USAA back in 2001, domestic salvage was probably around $750 to $1,000 was a lot of money. Foreign salvage was always a little higher, maybe anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500. We're looking at salvage values $5,000, $8,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 sometimes. Okay, inflated prices that are screwing you and me. All right, this is what the insurance company is never going to tell you. All right, they're basically screwing their own policyholder is what they're doing. Because they know this and they know they're going to get a lot of money on the back end. So they push the total of your car, take your car away from you, leave you in a worse spot financially so that they can benefit economically. That's what's going on here. Okay? It's bullshit. It's a ripoff. It's fraud. And it's all being perpetrated on us. All right? And that's why you need to get involved today. You need to understand what the hell it is that's going on when it comes to what you're paying for. It's no different than paying for a car, paying for anything else today. You pay for insurance. You better damn well know what you're going to get in return before you have to cash in. All right. And in this case here, you're not getting anything. All right. They're screwing you. That's why you want to make sure you know where your car's getting fixed. And before we close out here, let's put a really good plug in for our amazing sponsor, V&J Auto Body. Folks, getting in an accident is no joke, and where you get your car fixed shouldn't be either. That's why you want to make sure that if you get in an accident and you need auto body or collision work, you're going to V&J Auto Body. With 2 convenient locations, one in Southampton, one in Lindenhurst. The main office is in Lindenhurst, satellite offices in Southampton. We have availability covering all of Suffolk County. We have 24/7 towing. We have our own tow trucks in-house, our own tow driver. We go anywhere, everywhere, at any time to get your car and bring it to our facility. We have concierge service, which means we have drivers dedicated to just picking you up, dropping you off, bringing a rental car right to you. All right, taking your damaged car back to the facility. Our girls in the office I would put them up against any claim rep in the industry. They are that good, that polished, that informed, and that knowledgeable. We have the most highly trained technicians, the most highly certified body shop in all of Suffolk County. Maybe not, on a par certainly with a few other shops out there. But the key here, folks, is that they've been in business for 41 years. They are a small, still family-oriented business, operated business. All right, they have the people, the technicians, the business processes, the equipment, the knowledge, okay, and the dedication for you and your car. And we're going to repair your car the way you want it, not the way the insurance companies do. And hey, listen, you go to V&J Auto Body, you might actually walk away with not paying anything on your deductible either. All right, could be a discount at least. So give those guys a shot. 631-226-0070. Again, Lindenhurst, Southampton. All right, remember, you need to know who's fixing your car and why and how. All right, and you do not ever want to end up at an insurance company shop. All right, we're going to end it there. Hope everybody had a good time on this episode, and we will see you next time.